Autism spectrum disorder (ASD) is a neurodevelopmental disorder characterized by persistent deficits in social communication and social interaction, and by restricted repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities. Several neurocognitive theories have been put forward to explain this disorder. The executive dysfunction theory posits that ASD is partly due to impairment in the higher-order cognitive processes that underlie goal-directed behavior, such as mental flexibility and inhibition. Supporting this hypothesis, recent meta-analyses have reported moderate impairments across different domains of executive cognitive function. We use the term executive cognitive function instead of executive function in this article because the executive dysfunction theory focuses on the cognitive aspects of executive function. In addition, the social motivation theory posits that ASD can be construed as an extreme case of diminished social motivation. In fact, recent systematic reviews and meta-analyses have shown diminished motivational behavior and neural responses to reward in both social and non-social domains, suggesting a general impairment in motivation and reward processing in ASD. Furthermore, the amygdala theory and later the orbitofrontal amygdala circuit theory postulate that dysfunction of the amygdala or the orbitofrontal amygdala circuit underlies socio-emotional impairment in ASD. Supporting these theories, recent meta-analyses have reported moderate to large impairments in emotion recognition and in ASD across age and an IQ with statistical trend toward poorer recognition of fear than for happiness. While these theories have received empirical support from capturing the impairmental abilities, executive cognitive, motivational, and socio-emotional impairments, in ASD they focus only on isolated aspects of this disorder. As such, the tendency has been to study executive cognitive, motivational, and socio-emotional functions separately. Consequently, it is largely unclear whether the impaired task performed in ASD, as reported by individual studies, are pertinent to mental functions assumed to be measured by individual tasks, or to processes that are repeated across tasks. For example, previous findings of impaired performance on executive functioning tasks in ASD may reflect impairment in executive function components, such as set shifting and response inhibition, or in task non-specific functions, such as a lack of task engagement and attention over time. In fact, some studies have reported interrelationships between executive cognitive, motivational, and socio-emotional impairments in various psychiatric and neurological conditions, raising the possibility that impaired task performance in one specific domain could be the result of some general processing difficulties. Several studies have examined multiple functional domains in ASD and have reported mixed findings. While some studies have reported impairments in flexible reinforcement learning and set shifting, or in affective mentalizing and set shifting in ASD, others have reported impairment in flexible reinforcement learning and affective decision-making, but not in set shifting or working memory in ASD. In addition, one study has reported impaired set shifting and executive mentalizing, but intact affective decision-making in adults with Asperger's syndrome. Despite these findings, no study to date has attempted to compare the various neurocognitive theories used to explain these executive cognitive, motivational, and socio-emotional impairments in ASD. In this study, we assessed each of these three functions in ASD to determine whether ASD improves task performance in all of the three domains or only in some of the domains. It is widely agreed that considerable variability exists within ASD. For example, while some individuals with ASD exhibit early language delay, others do not. Although some studies have failed to report discernible differences in cognition and behavior between ASD with and without disrupted early language acquisition. Other studies have shown that these two ASD subtypes are differentiable on the basis of clinical characteristics and cognitive abilities. For example, according to a recent systematic review, three times as many studies report significant or near significant level of differences between AS and HFA as studies reporting no differences between them on many clinical variables. In addition, several empirical studies have reported greater impairment in set-shifting, mentalizing skills, and general intelligence in HFA than in AS. Some research with children adolescents with ASD or typical development has shown that language, such as inner speech use, is associated with executive functioning and emotion recognition skills. However, it remains largely unclear about the influence of disturbed language acquisition on later mental functioning in ASD.